Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
And here we are, back again.
We are stuck on you like glue,
Back in the saddle.
or gum on a shoe.
Yes, gum and sticky shoes. Yeah.
Absolutely. We want to thank you guys for your support this past year. It's been quite a wild ride, has it not?
It has been, but you know what? I think it's going to get wilder.
Well, it's interesting because we're closing out the year with 111 Patreons.
Whoa!
111 Patreons, so thank you for your support again, guys.
Yes, you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 111 plus a million more times.
And we also want to thank everybody that's been supporting us over on Ko-Fi as well. All right, so hang on tight, guys. You remember your first ride as a kid? Oh, I remember Mom and Dad, and you're big enough. You can handle this ride now. I don't know. You can handle it.
You know what I really liked? I know this is bad to mention, but back in the day when there was the older McDonald's, we could go in there and you could actually like sit on a saddle or you could sit on a pony. That was fun for me. That was fun. Just sitting there. It was great.
You mean an actual saddle?
Yeah, they had the saddles mounted on the posts. So
okay.
It was in Coeur d'Alene. It was so fun. I don't know if anybody remembers that. It was great.
So Coeur d'Alene's in Idaho, where Cindy grew up on the Canadian border.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Absolutely. Well, I remember McDonald's actually had kind of normal burgers. I mean, they tasted real. Nothing, and now I haven't eaten a fast food burger in many, many years. So I'm just going on the more recent memory, which might be over a decade ago or more. And they weren't real, not like when we were kids. And again, what's in them? Well, I'll tell you what. Where's the beef, right?
Where really?
Well,
What is the beef?
where is the M period, R period, N period, A? Yeah, there's, again, one of the things we got from the guides. So what we're going to do here is we want to give you what the guides have given us as far as what to look forward to in 2023, what it's going to be like, and really to use the guide's own word that Cindy was translating. It was definitely a hang on tight because this is going to be a wild and crazy ride. Just when you think you've come through the wildest part of the ride, can you imagine hitting this?
Right? I don't know if any of you guys have been on the drop zone or you've seen any of those rides in Vegas where you go up on the spindly thing. But yes, their words were, this is going to be something like all the people who went on the puke rides. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she said that they basically translated it like, the movies where you used to get handed a barf bag.
Yes.
Well, 2023 is a year that we have to approach with barf bag in hand, so to speak. Now, of course, some people will look at that and say, oh, come on, that's such a negative point of view. It's just the reality of what we're facing because you don't exit Kali Yuga in a smooth, easy manner because the dark forces that have been in control of this system they don't let go. Not easy, they're clutching and clawing. When do you see, a lion that's hungry give up its prey? No, willingly.
Right, because so many of these entities, they use our energy for food. So that's a really good analogy. A lion's never going to give up their prey, not willingly.
No way. It's going to be ugly if you try to take that prey away from that lion. And that's exactly what's going on here in this world.
And I akin it to, if you're got to clean your closet because there's so much stuff in it. Well, the only way that's going to happen is to pull everything out. And boy, does it have to get ugly before it gets better.
Exactly. Everything has to be pulled out of the closet, so to speak. No pun intended.
Right.
No pun intended there as well. So, yeah, guys, hang on tight. You think we've seen a lot already? No. It's going to get more challenging. And that's said just so, again, we can prepare. Obviously, keep preparing as you can physically, emotionally, and especially spiritually. That's going to be the thing that's going to really get you through. Develop that intuition, develop that connection with your higher self, because what they are doing is at every turn, they are trying to disconnect you from your higher self. And unfortunately, I would say the majority of the population is disconnected from their higher selves. They are basically like little kids wandering around without a map and don't know where to go. They really don't. It's a very, very sad situation. Most people, when you think about and you say, you got to really build the spiritual side, build that spiritual strength. They might say something like, hey, John, hey, Mary, we better get going back to church. We don't mean that, because again, you got to recognize that everything we have that's given to us, everything that is out in there for all to mass consume, everything that is the mainstream is part of this matrix. Everything mainstream is part of the matrix. How could we think it could be anything other than that?
I know, I mean, it's like the map that people are left with when you're not attached to your higher self is a map that controllers give you, and they put it right down in front of you, and they make it very simple for you to follow, and they even put lures out, to encourage you to follow their map.
So, again, this is not for the squeamish, but, if we look at the guy on the top right there, some people handle it better than others. Absolutely. Are you going to go into it with your eyes open, or is it time to close the eyes? Again, we need to be as alert as possible. 2023 is going to be an acceleration and continuation. It's not a culmination, though. It's not going to be a culmination. So, we're not going to see the end of things in 2023. We're going to see basically a speeding up of everything that has been going on right now. And so we should be aware of that fact. I understand, there are many channels out there that get many more views than we do. And they might be telling you, don't worry, the white hats are right around the corner. The battle is already won. No, the battle's not won yet from the standpoint of being embodied in the 3D, or technically the lower 4D right now at this moment in time. There's still quite a bit of a ride to go. And, we don't want to pop anybody's expectations bubble, but at the same time we want you to be prepared, because you got to know what we're facing. And so more of the same, and an acceleration and an intensification, and that intensification is going to be something that's going to make the Great Divide into really two separate, totally separate groups. This is what is happening, and this is why, again, I chose to use the logo I did for EEARTS, because when we emerge from this time, there's two divergent paths, and you get these two paths from some religious texts, but again, everything in this world is upside down and inside out. So one thing that they are stressing to us strongly, very, very strongly, is that Mother Earth, because again, we are all cells in the mother. She cares about us. You care about your body. Hopefully you're, somebody that cares about their body, and you want to take care of that temple, right? Because the body is the temple for the spirit, that which is eternal. Well, she's been holding off as much as she can from the major earth changes, from more major catastrophic events. The controllers have been trying to trigger massive, horrible, destructive chaos at every turn. And if I say a certain thing again, as I'm looking at the time, I'm looking at the power coming from the mic and everything up on the screen, there's some things that they don't want covered. It is interesting how it seems like in December especially, they always seem to shoot a lot of new things that circle the earth. And of course, we're going to get one or two people that are going to be troll-like and say, oh, circle the earth. The earth is flat. It's square. Or whatever it is. Again, And yeah, we're poking fun at it because, again, what it is an attempt to get us off track and get us looking somewhere else and get us to respond and argue, because this is what they want. They want us arguing. So, when people just arbitrarily come in with something like that, it's all about getting you off center. Oh, what was I talking about? Because now I'm just in this argument. This is what they do. And so it's part of that control. It's part of that psyop. But yeah, there's an awful lot of things being put up there into low Earth orbit that are being utilized to watch everything we do and other things. They're used to control the weather. They're used to control and manipulate our frequencies, our thoughts, our feelings. We've seen Klaus, at the Few, put it up to a mirror, say everybody's going to have that thing inside their head, so he's going to know what he didn't say thinking, he said feeling. And that's even more telling, again, because feelings are more powerful than thoughts in many ways. And that's the inverse of what we're taught in this world. Yet, what's happening is mom's not going to be able to hold back much longer. And just like, somebody tickling your foot with a feather, at some point in time you're going to scream or you're going to just go and scratch it.
That energy is going to continue to build. It's not like it just goes away, especially if it's in a sensitive area. But what they said to don't underestimate yourself, or if you are in one of these areas and you see these earth changes happening, lend your energy, lend your strength. Don't sit there and think, well, I'm just one person. How can I settle down this earth change? Use your energy, because we never know who our higher self might be. We are all giants here in this little body, but believe me, our energy body can really go a long ways, especially if you're doing things to enhance and strengthen your energy body. But you know what? Even if you're not, and you're called to try to settle some of these earth changes, if you feel that pull in your heart, definitely use it, work on it, do it. That's what we call a calling, and you do what you feel pulled to do.
So, 2023, it feels that we will see some legitimate earth changes that are coming, that are part of what has to come. Because, when it's all said and done, everything of this system will be washed away. There won't be anything left. And so, it's going to be a complete reset, truly, on the biggest, and the biggest stage you can imagine. And it kind of has to happen because it's, again, such a corrupt, negative, disharmonious system that is using all sorts of technology to control people and to also to distort. We will live healthier lives once we're outside of the system. We will be way happier once we're out of the system. Life will be a joy. You will look forward to every day as an all-new adventure. Truly, when we look at Earth in a golden age, it really is heaven on earth. It is fun. It's expansive. It's explorative. It's just a big adventure. We should never lose our ability to look at things like a kid, where you're marveling every day at, like, oh my gosh, look at this butterfly, Mom. Or whatever it is. Mommy, look what I found. And, you pull out a little flower or a bug or who knows what. Maybe it's a frog. And, again, nature itself is so wondrous. But what we have to be aware of is, where are we? Where are we? Are there any signs that there could be issues where we are? Take notice, again, of these things. In an ideal world, if you are able to, make your choices as to where you can live, then listen to that voice. Now, some people might have chosen to be put right in the midst of the muck and the mire. There are some people that might have chosen to take a life in Pompeii. And then even the higher self knowing that at some point that eruption is going to come. And it might have served their purpose for that life for whatever reason. Because, again, we can't see the bigger picture from this angle unless we are super devoted to our spiritual practice, where that is really the main driving thing in our life, then you can start to make that connection to where you understand your higher self more and more every day. Once we get out of the system, absolutely, that's going to be something that's very attainable for the masses. For those people, like myself, when I was in my 20s, my 30s, up until my early 40s, most of my weeks were spent 40 to 60 hours working in a corporate job. How can you have truly primary devotion to the spiritual side of things when 40 to 60 hours a week you're running on the rat wheel? It's tough, and that's why they have us set up in this slave system. It's a monetary slave system, and again, it's all about debt slaves. And how many of us truly are debt slaves? Unfortunately, it really is the majority.
I mean, I just love how they take our life and our energy, and they send us to these. They say you're getting a free education, and it's a free indoctrination, so we know how to run their facilities. And they take our natural desire to want to help, to want to do, and they turn that on us, and they basically put us in a system where we're doing for them, but we are giving of our own time. And sure, they're giving us something in return, but it's if we had to choose something to do, or if we got to choose something to do without taking into account the money aspect of it, what would you do? How often has anyone been able to ponder that? It's like, I don't have to worry about money. What do I really want to do? And then go ahead and envision that and manifest that. That's what we should naturally be doing. And they've totally hijacked that. They've hijacked our want and need and desire to help other people. And they've kind of pointed that toward their own institutions and trapped us in this time thing. And I heard something a little while ago, time is the most valuable currency that there is. Our time, our life, our journey. And they've really taken that and they've made it for them, for their benefit. And it's not natural and it's not right. And now we're having the opportunity to step out of that.
Absolutely. So again, if you are in a place that feels good and you feel nice and comfortable and you have that inner knowing that you're in a good spot for you, then root and ground and again, keep preparing. Try to get yourself as self-sufficient as possible. The food, the water, even the air, everything is going to be more compromised every day. This is part of what's going on the bigger picture. Personally, Cindy and I, we do eat dairy. We don't really eat, at this point, we really don't eat any meat anymore. And, I've been vegetarian on and off for like 25, 30 years. Again, going by what I feel intuitively, and I don't want this to be a discussion about vegetarianism or veganism, but part of what's going to happen as we are ascending, we will find that we're not going to want that which weighs us down. It'll be a natural inclination to go to lighter foods and a lighter way of living. And, again, just go with that. Go with what feels right. It's going to be learning how to feel into things more than looking at things necessarily left brain logical. Developing the intuition and feeling into what your body needs at these point of times. You may feel that you need a lot less food. That is really pretty typical. And overall, that is lighter. For us now, I'd say more meals than not are simply very large salads with homemade salad dressings, so we know all the ingredients. Because again, you don't know what's in that food. If there's a laundry list of ingredients and it says artificial flavors, artificial sweeteners, if it even just gives you a generic natural flavorings, I would steer clear of that. And, we saw on Hellmann's mayonnaise, for instance, that it has genetically modified organisms. One of the things that the guides have said is that with these GMO foods, they're ultimately going to be like eating cardboard. Eating paper boxes is how they put it.
Right. I know. And on that mayonnaise, it said bioengineered foods, bioengineered ingredients. Can you just imagine what's that?
Yeah, again, what we have now, and we've already gotten this from their own mouths, is this is the last generation or so of Homo sapiens sapiens. Now, it shouldn't really come as a surprise, because once we had Neanderthals and Denisovans walking the earth, we've had many different hominid species that walk the earth and then they're gone. Now, they portray them like they're something less than us, but the reality was they had more abilities than us on the whole. We are actually the more controlled, dumbed down version of things. And what's coming on one side, we're talking about that split. If a person chooses to go down the AI cyber Borg route, the modified route, it's going to be a much more modified version of Homo sapiens. It's not going to be more advanced. It's going to be actually the opposite. And if you let nature take its course and choose to stay as organic as possible, you're actually going to get an upgraded version. You're going to get something that they can't control. They know this. This is why they can't have this. Again, it's very much like the rancher that maybe a ranch hand understands what's going on and talking to the cows and trying to open that door, that gate to let the cows out before he knows the rancher's going to take them to harvest. When we see all these references, sheep and shepherds, look deep, deep, deep.
And don't be afraid to ask the question.
Absolutely, because ultimately what happens to the sheep? It's not good if you are a sheep.
No, it's not.
It's bad.
Oh, that's a good one. That's cute.
It's very bad. Absolutely. So again, more earth changes, real earth changes. It feels like the Pacific Northwest is going to be awakening. And again, they are on a timeline, as we were saying. Now, this is cute. And let's see. Okay, well, I hate it when they have to start with the sound. This was during, the plague upon the land, and you see, what they're doing here is they're saying, it wasn't really busy. Again, life is what you make of it. So, we are going to be faced with lockdowns. Lockdowns are coming. More lockdowns are coming. Absolutely. And there is going to be something that we, it's interesting how many people get that there is something really major coming where you are going to really take everything completely seriously and you're just going to hunker down. The chances are pretty high 2023 could be that year. 2024 would definitely be the latest because, again, they have agendas that they want to meet. So it's very high and likely that we'll see some sort of lockdown in 2023 that might be way more severe than what we saw previously. And you could kind of feel that coming. And at the same time, there's going to be more happening too that we really have to be careful about. There's a lot of distortion out there. And of course, there's a lot of people that did something that actually the majority of the people supposedly did something. Oh, it's interesting. We're talking about something.
Yeah, not weird.
Yeah, they did something. The majority, if we believe, the numbers, it's going to be a different world come 2025. A different world. I mean, again, it's almost like you're not going to recognize it. And so 2023 is the year of accelerated change. Everything is going to speed up in this point in time. And we could see what's coming. And this is Miles Guo. And so he's tweeting the PCC will definitely be taken down by us by 2025. And, you could see where everything is being blamed. Watch for this controlled disinformation because, again, you will have the powers that be themselves giving you all this. Well, why would they say that, they are going to be taken down? Because they're playing both sides of the board. And it's part of the plan. They need people to buy in to everything. Now, again, does it mean that the PCC really didn't release anything? No. I mean, they could be telling us the truth that the PCC did release something, absolutely, just like with the war in Ukraine. And we were talking about how there was a segment on Twitter that was showing how they were filming what looked to be, legitimate war scenes, but it was like a movie set. Now, that doesn't mean people aren't dying every day. Of course they are. People died in World War I, people died in World War II. Again, wars happen, and the pawns always are the ones that pay the price. And who's the pawns? We are, just the average people. And, again, you get people that will say, because we mentioned, you can't trust RT, can't trust Sputnik. Oh, I see you use a lot of Twitter. We don't trust any of this. This is because everybody is out there looking at all this. Feel into it. And of course, when I see trolls like that, people that are just obvious trolls and bots, of course, we always track them. And we look at them and we look at their energy and we see what the case is with them. Most of these people are on big FARMA. Or, you could even sense that they're just, frustrated people, often just out there that enjoy trolling in any way, shape, or form. This is what humanity's going to be able to do. You're going to be able to look at somebody and say, this guy's a freaking actor. This is a complete joke. And you'll know immediately. You'll just look and you'll read energy and This is why the system is going to collapse. They're going to keep telling us, other things. Oh, video games could trigger deadly heart problems in children. I remember the warning about, dizziness and vertigo and epileptic seizures. Okay, so now we're to think this. We could add that to the farming, to the yoga, to the, you name it. It has nothing to do with other things, does it? How stupid do you think we are? Well, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that truly are sleepwalking zombies, and there's a lot of people that can't face the reality that they've made horrible choices, and that they've been basically, as W.C. Fields, no, it wasn't W.C. Fields. Was it W.C. Fields? No, it was P.T. Barnum. P.T. Barnum, the famous, circus man there. Barnum and Bailey Circus. He said this quote. He said, "There's a sucker born every moment." And this is what the controllers think of humanity in general. They think we're all, quote unquote, suckers. That they could just tell us stuff and we're just going to blindly believe them. If they want to, they could just play a flute, dance up to that cliff, and just say, "Go ahead, guys." And we're just going to jump off that cliff. Well, maybe the mass of population has done that. But there's a lot that haven't. And there's still time to purge, to detox, to do whatever you can to raise your vibrations up. The hypocrisy is being exposed. As we look at the Terminator here. Ah, yes, he's part of the World Climate Summit. Yes. Look at what a great guy. He's driving this Hummer. And how about Greta? Well, she's a Rothschild. Yeah, what do you expect? What do you expect? Here's JB. He's hard at work. 280 days of his presidency on vacation. Wait a minute, he hasn't finished 2 years yet. Wow. Yeah, it's been tough, Joe, hasn't it? Well, it's a good thing you don't make any decisions.
Well, pushing those pens and making those signatures into a stamp, I guess that could take up a little time.
Yeah, it can. And being that he can't even speak, so it's, again, 4 million illegal immigrants crossed the border since Kamala Harris was assigned to address the root cause of the crisis. She hasn't held a single immigration event in over 6 months, hasn't been to the border in 18 months. That's because she's part of, she knows what's going on. It's not her job to fix the problem. It's not any of their jobs to fix the problem, really. 5 bombings in a week in Sweden. Yeah, tonight a house was bombed in Stockholm. What's going on? Well, again, This reminds me about Nostradamus. He said there was going to be a cruel sect of Muslims, that this is how he worded it, that came hiding bombs under their robes. And they were going to take a whole bunch of European cities and bomb them ahead of time. Bomb them ahead of time, cause chaos, disruptions in the European cities before the invasion happens. So, the invasion is probably months away, whether that's a couple months, it could be weeks away. Again, it's one of those things that's hard to peg the exact time frame, but I would almost guarantee it's going to be before 2025. We feel very strongly about that by the time you get into the middle of 2024, the world is fully at war again in an open WW3. And, these migrants that are coming over the border, when we were asking the guides, how many truly are in the United States, for instance, that are military, just waiting to be triggered? And the number that we got, if you look at the largest militaries in the world, this is total active military manpower. So the U.S. has 1.4 million total active. There's already an army of hundreds of thousands inside the U.S. Hundreds of thousands are already inside our borders, military personnel waiting orders.
Mm-hmm. That was disturbing when that number came in. But, when you have the information, it's like you can't just sit on it if you're not supposed to. So what do we do with that? We realize that we can keep ourselves protected. We can make choices and decisions that are going to help us in no matter where we're at, no matter what position we're in. They keep reminding us or trying to tell us that our energy bodies are not really there. They really can't do anything. And Mike and I can tell you with, dedicated practice, your energy body is powerful. And when you push back or you shoot your energy out of your body in an attempt to protect yourself and your family, it makes a difference. But we have to go within and we have to grow and strengthen that energy body. And this is what we're always going to keep telling you guys.
So you can see outgoing House Speaker Nancy Pelosi issued a directive, her final day of controlling the Speaker gavel on Friday, boosting maximum pay rate for House staffers to $212,000. It pays to be in politics, and this is why. Because again, it's not just what they make there; it's what they make off of there. Yeah. It's not the official pay. Because again, we looked at Biden and Harris, their net wealth has gone up in the 2 years they've been there tenfold. It's way beyond salaries, way beyond. There's money that pours in from every angle. And of course, there's money that's untraceable that pours in, that's untaxable that's poured in. This is part of the problem. And, there was another stat, I don't think I put it in this one, but it was showing just how many, basically it was around 35% of people in Congress basically got donations from big FARMA, some more than others. So when bribery is fine and part of the political system, how could you expect it to not be corrupted? How could you expect it to not be? Here you see Department of State. Governments that violate human rights are almost always the same ones that flout other key parts of that order, such as invading, coercing, and threatening other countries or breaking trade rules. The U.S. will continue to take a stand for human rights for all. That's hysterical. Yeah. That's hysterical. As if the U.S. is protecting human rights. How about all these mandates? How about forcing your military people to do something? And now you can see what the outcome is going to be. That's just hysterical. How about the fact that everything that we say is being recorded all the time? There's no privacy. They listen to all of us all the time. The corruption that's been exposed in the FBI. The governments themselves are the most corrupted things on this planet. bar a couple of souls that are pretty darn nasty.
Yeah.
But they're the ones that are controlling these governments. When you can look to cloning, because cloning is real. But when you look even back into 93 and the technology of just how realistic these masks can be. And, we've noticed that, JB, there's too many versions of him that look too different. And then we do have the reality of clones as well. It is a reality. You can't trust your eyes. Again, this is where you have to trust your feelings. Trust what you see and sense. Use what you see with that third eye. Like when we look at this guy, Pope Benedict XVI, died at the age of 95. His energy's horrible. Horrible. This is no saint. And yet, again, they make people like this saints. They're not saints, but again, who are they really serving? Well, yeah, well, to the dark side, let's just say. This is a saint, but not the case at all. And in actuality, his energy is extremely dark.
Mm-hmm. It was interesting when I looked at his energy as far as him passing away. There was this break from the darkness. It looks like a rope, and this rope is being broken from the darkness. And it felt very strong. It felt very important. It felt like a very important energy had been broken. And when I looked into that a little bit further, the guides are telling me that there could be some very significant changes come in the next few weeks with this energy being broken from the darkness. So we need to watch and see what happens here, but it's definitely going to be a change in vibration across the board and a change in frequency, and that means things are going to be done a little bit differently. So it's important for us to figure out, how are we going to do things? What's our path? Because it's our opportunity. We don't have to take the map that they put down in front of us. We can create our own reality, and it really feels like the frequency has changed in such a way we're going to be able to do that now.
So him, the Pope here, and George Soros, their energy is very similar. Very, very similar. And in fact, these are two of the Homo sapiens, or partly Homo sapiens, that are on the planet that are the closest to the real controllers.
There's a lot of mind control going on. Now, these two have a lot of mind control power, and I believe that's the energy that I saw break away. So it's going to be a very a considerable change in people's thoughts, especially those people who really thought that they were saints and were really important. It's like that energy is finally going to be seen for what it is. Yeah, they're going to put someone else in the same position, but they don't have the same mind control ability.
So when you think about the Ijiji, again, the Ijiji are the ones that we are told rebelled against the Anunnaki, and are the reason why Homo sapiens itself became to be the new slave class upon the planet. Well, yeah, the Ijiji, there were more of them than there are now. Here on the planet now, there's just one left, and it's on life support. Say it, kind of. It's basically on life support. When we look at, certain people, they are offspring of these beings. Your highest level controllers or sub-controllers are blood related. This is why this is why you have royalty. This is why you have those that are chosen. Again, kingship was given to humans from above. Yes, again, from these beings. that came and conquered. And so there's only one left, and it does have amazing mind powers, absolutely, in so many ways. Again, if you really want to kind of get a picture of what the Gigi is really like, we could look to Star Wars, and the Emperor, because that's really kind of close to it when you get down to it. And isn't it funny too, when you think about it? And darkness does something to people. The darkness does something to people. It changes people. It transforms them. And again, these are beings that only really exist. The highest they could go is the lower 4D. That's nothing. That is nothing compared to beings that are residing on the higher densities. When we start talking about, the forces of the archangels, who are actually even beyond this universe, there's just no comparison. There's no comparison at all. And so many of us, we have a mix of different lineages from many different places within us, and it's all about tapping into certain aspects of our DNA. It's very much like that two-wolf scenario. Which wolf are you going to feed?
Mm-hmm. And which aspect of yourself do you want to bring alive? And we have that ability that if we want to bring alive, a certain great grand or even an alien aspect of ourselves, for us to just simply hone in on that energy, it activates that DNA. And these are some of the best kept secrets that the controllers keep away from us, because they don't want us to understand our abilities outside of their realm.
Absolutely. So take heart, because the last one is on his last legs. Yes. And he does not have long. And then you're just going to have, again, the offspring that don't have the same type of abilities. And this is also going to be releasing a whole bunch of the quote-unquote sheeple zombie from that spell. And this is why they are pushing so fast, because their time is so short. And, still there's so many people that would line up and take the comforting lies instead of the unpleasant truths. We have to face what's coming. And, it's going to be a challenging year. There's no way getting around it. And you see, this guy has his ideas on how you best fold a fitted sheet. Hey, it works for him. We all have our own little techniques we use to do certain things. But, this kind of reminds me of Cindy making the bed in the morning.
I do my best. But yes, this is the proper way to fold a fitted sheet, you guys, just so we know. And this is the proper way to be a little love bug and love on your friends and thank our pets, who are just some of the most greatest angels in our life. Isn't it nice just to pour your love out to another entity in the most innocent way possible? This is a good way to open your heart chakra. If you've had a lot of hurt, really, if you've really had a lot of hurt in your life and you want to work on expanding that heart chakra, your pets, animals, that's the best way, because you have that unbridled love that you can send out to them, and then you're exercising that love.
I just I like this. I am that I am. The universe exists within me as much as I exist in the universe. That is true. And the older I get, the more experienced I get, the more I realize, as somebody that's traveled everywhere in the U.S. anyway, and done a lot of traveling, always looking for that right spot. The right spot's wherever your heart is settled. That's the truth. So, again, you could find your peace, wherever it feels rooted for you and grounded for you. And, hey, you may be led somewhere else. You might be led to a new spot, new circumstance, and again, new family too, because, we are born into family, but your favorite saying there is,
friends are the family you choose for yourself.
And we're going to be coming together at this point in time with our soul family. So a lot of times we choose family for certain circumstances, learning experiences, but there's also these beings that we will continually reincarnate with life after lifetime, key people that have helped us at key times in our lives, key transitional periods where we might need a little bit more support. It's amazing when you can know some people all your life, perhaps, 30, 40, 50 years more, and yet meet a perfect stranger or almost a perfect stranger and feel more at ease and more comfortable with them than sometimes your own blood relations. Mm-hmm. But this is because, this is not our first go around. We incarnate many, many times. Each incarnation, each life is just a single chapter in the bigger story of the soul.
Mm-hmm. I mean, sometimes you're just vibing at the right frequency that allows you to lock in with somebody else who's at that frequency, and you can really grow some deep bonds that way.
Yeah, and I know people that have been rooted in the Abrahamic tradition, they might have a hard time doing Vedic mantras, but these are the most powerful way I know to change our frequency. And I don't know anything more powerful. So for me, 2 or 3 sit down, just dedicated sessions every day doing my mantras. And when I say mantras, I'm not saying something in English that is like an affirmation. I'm saying something in Vedic Sanskrit, because just the language is a much more ancient language, and these are formulated so they literally open up your chakras. And again, we've encountered people that have said, "Oh, I'm scared of getting my chakras, opened up. Oh, it's going to open me up to demonic things, isn't it?" No, it's exactly the opposite. When your chakras are closed, you're cut off. You're on an island, and you cannot see, sense, or really know anything. You're going to have to go more on left brain logic. And how much of everything that we've taken in as facts has turned out to be lies, turned out to be distortion, total untruths. Again, it's more about opening those connections so that you can have that conversation with the higher self, the higher version of you, which is having this temporary incarnation as, whatever your name is, Rose Smith, John Doe, whatever. That's just a temporary experience. It's just a chapter in the soul's book. And if you are somebody like most of the people on the planet with closed off chakras, especially heart and crown, the crown chakra is what connects us up into the higher densities. And, you have to have your heart chakra open. How many of us have gone through such traumas of the heart that just shuts us down, and we have a hard time feeling anymore? These mantras will open them up. And I would go and we always pretty much, it's hardly ever that we don't recommend not starting with Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. And Gam is the root sound for the root chakra. We need to be rooted first. So this is the second mantra down on this list. And it's all about overcoming obstacles, developing that inner wisdom, ease, supreme knowledge, and awakening. Absolutely. That's the one that we would start with. And we have so many people that are doing spiritual practices, and then we'll say, "Have you started mantras?" "Well, no, I haven't really gotten around to it," and they're still having issues. And then we have the ones that we've talked to, and they're just soaring, and it's because they're doing mantras every day. Because this is like an automatic connect up to 5, 6, 7D.
Mm-hmm. It's something that it definitely helps you grow. It helps you heal. It helps you connect. Many people we know, when they talk about doing the mantras, sometimes they don't do them because they say, "I keep breaking down in tears," or, I might even fall asleep. But when you break down in tears and when your body, you actually fall asleep, that patterning is healing you. when you break out in tears, it's moving some type of emotional energy that needed to be moved up and out of your body. It moves that out and allows it to process. You're processing difficulty. So it's a very beautiful thing if you start crying. It's just fine if you fall asleep when you're doing either mantras or meditation. You're sometimes a lot of people go to the in between, but they don't even know it. They're just out for a second. That's okay. You just work through it. You give it time. And this is a slow and steady process, but it's the most important process you could ever do for yourself and your family.
Absolutely. And so, just there's some that are just very, very kind of simple and generic. One that's just so beautiful is this one, Om. Om is the sound of the universe. It's the sound of creation. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. And Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, it's right here, means may all beings everywhere be happy and free of suffering. How can you not embrace that concept? And you could simply do Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And Shanti is peace. And it's just that simple. And that's such a blessing, just chanting Om Shanti, 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 Om. Just like that, over and over. You'll feel the peace come and seep into you. And traditionally, you would do cycles of 108, whatever time allows. But if you're into it and you want to go farther, get some mala beads. You could get them for $10. They're on the internet. Very, very inexpensive. And just go through the motion of feeling each bead one at a time on your fingers. This is all just techniques also to clarify the mind. And again, these Vedic sounds, there's 50 different sounds in Sanskrit. Each one of them corresponds to a flower, a lotus flower petal, on the 7 main chakras that reside upon what we would call the Taiji pole, which are in the center point of our spine, throughout our body, up to the crown of the head. And each one of these sounds opens a different flower petal, and the lotus that is the chakras along this path. So it is a science, absolutely. And it is a science that can bring you amazing peace.
It takes some time. You need to prioritize these things. And I know some out there, we have families, we have children. We're putting out 10 fires at a time, every hour, on the hour. But you got to prioritize. I mean, if you need to wake up at 4:30 to get this time in, if you need to sit in your bathroom, lock yourself in your bathroom to get these mantras in, go out to your car. You got to get creative. If this is something you want, then you start to seek it out.
And so again, we have a playlist over here, Mantras for Activating Higher Consciousness. There's 38 videos there. And then, again, I would strongly recommend practicing Qigong meditations. This is over on Evolutionary. There's this playlist on EEARTS as well. And, lots of techniques for just building up your energy body and bringing you some peace. We need peace in these times. We're not going to go through this without being grounded and rooted in a solid spiritual practice and really be able to rise above.
Indeed.
As always, guys, much love. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.